2, 1. Hello, everybody in Facebook Live land. We are the Podguyz Podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday night. I am Tony Cass.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Picasso, the doer of deeds and the doer of don'ts. Les Sparky.
There we go. I was waiting for the ball to drop on that one too.
Ooh.
And Sparky says, hi, he's got the big bubble letters of the H and the I, and it looks like there's a window inside of the I where it's in fire. It looks like a little guy is inside of there. Sparky, who is that little guy? I can't ask you that and have you not elaborate on who is the little man in the window inside of the bubble letter I?
That is me tonight.
Okay, that is you.
Perfect.
You are living inside of a house on fire. I love it. That's shaped like the letter I. It must be one of those new age architects of bubble letter houses.
It's a burning house of flame, of course. And it is the reason why our special guest is here today. He goes by the name Jeffery Davis. Inspiring breakthroughs, of course. Welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Now, for those that don't see Jeffery right now, who are our non-viewing audience, Jeffery, he looks like he could be like he's a very good-looking guy to the point where Jeffery, you could be like 105 years old, like a sneaky 105, and you're like, oh no, I just eat bread and cucumbers and shit. Do you have any health secrets going on to look that young? And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One is I am a biohacker.
Okay.
So, I was...
we elaborate on what that is, actually.
Yeah, a biohacker.
Sure. So I essentially it's on the edge of experiment on my body with new technologies and modalities that increase health, longevity, cognition, and energy. So those can be everything from supplements to ways of being to products that you use to some processes. I mean, everything from ozone to hyperbaric to infrared to, all kinds of different things.
Holy, that's a dabbler right there. You don't even look like you're a day past 46, guaranteed. Like I'm not even joking. Seriously, for people out there that
that's
can't
some clean
see this,
living right there. Clean living.
Yeah. You look like you're fucking like if the Mormons, got up to like if they ever aged at all. Like have you ever? No, you're not coming. You're coming from us straight from Mexico, right?
I am. I live in San Miguel de Allende.
Now, I have a really big question though. Are there any Mormons in Mexico? I heard there's some kind of war going on down there.
I don't know of a war down here, and I don't know that there's you asked if there were Mormons down here. I don't know that there's any Mormons down here. That doesn't mean not, but there's not a big Mormon community that I'm aware of, and it's a relatively small town, about 140,000 people.
That just all that proves is I watched too many conspiracy documentary things where they're like the Mormons and the Mexicans are fighting along the border. Like, really? Go on, sir.
I didn't know the Mormons fought. I mean, I don't know.
Did they fight really? So, Jeff, you are on the show today because we do have a multitude of questions for you, of course. We want to hear what your story is and how you got there. Now, you have been doing self-help, coaching as far as businesses, entrepreneurship, trying to get people off the ground and pointed in the right direction. Am I correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So
when did it start? There we go. We'll start with that.
Okay. So my journey's been kind of interesting. The theme in my life has been an interest and fascination and desire to connect with people and their stories. So that started with me stepping into advertising back in New York City, where I was in the media buying and planning world and studied how to influence people with the media purchases and the packages that we purchased, so that we could, in a short span, with a lot of money that clients were spending, how could we maximize the creative and shift attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of clients And there was
You gotta
research-
love what's going on right now, then, Jeffrey, with all these advertising. I tell you what, when it comes down to YouTube ads and you have that skip ad part, that skip ad button is there for the consumer and the commercial and the software company, because if you click the skip ad part, they know that you're still there.
Oh, interesting.
Oh shit! I thought that you're all right. Well, yeah, they know that you're still there. Yeah, they know that you're still there, so they know that you're still watching. So they know that the customer is still at the helm of the ship or whatever for that exact moment. But how
Speaking
long
of
ago were
subliminal
you?
advertising, Kevin, go to
What's that?
merchbooth.com for all your famous podcast needs.
Yeah, you can go to
Merchbooth.com.
merchbooth.com for any of those Podguyz podcast gear that you're going to need. It is life-changing gear, life-changing, just like Jeffrey's program. I guess you got you're doing the Facebook group now, correct?
Yeah. So I've got a Facebook group called Life on Purpose, where I'm working with people on a 5-day challenge, which started today. And each day we go through different pieces of how they can step into purpose, passion, and increase their performance without paying the bills from their mental and physical health or their relationships.
No, not giving away the farm. How do you go about the transformation of changing someone like that?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. So I don't do it. What I do is I help them connect with their inner power and who they really are. And so that's basically two things. One is getting everything else out of the way so that they can easily hear that inner voice, so they can connect in what their truth is, and they can live in a place where they're not resisting life, but they're embracing it and moving into it. That's one. And two is I help them tap into what their true desires are in a sense of alignment, because we have an inner desire, a reason why we're here. And that's one trajectory. And then we have, which are your inner values, right? And your purpose and your external values, which is, hey, Johnny, you should do this, or you make a decision based on that, or you need to do this for money. The further that those are separate and the longer that time goes, that gap between those 2 points starts to become filled with anxiety and stress and overwhelm. As those two pieces come together and you're in alignment and you're starting to do what you're here to do and you feel fulfilled, then you actually become energized. You can step into a state of flow and you really actually can do more.
Jeffrey, you put that perfectly too. I guess you can't push a horse into the cart, sort of thing, is what you're trying to say, because you're saying you're being 100% modest and honest about the whole idea, because it always is up to the other person. And if they're going to buy in, they're going to buy in. If they're not going to buy in, well, you can't force the mental attitude to be there. Have you ever had a problem with some people that day one, minute one, did you already tell when they can't, when you think that they're not going to buy in? Have you ever had that issue arise?
Well, I first off, I'm clear on who I am. And so I attract specific people who are here to do the work. And I also am clear on who I want to work with. And that's people who are here to do the work. So I'm not interested in, hey, I'm here to sell you and push you into my course and da, da, da. It's not like that. I'm here, I have a gift, and it's life-changing for me, and it's life-changing for the people that I work with. If they're ready for that, then let's step into that. And the people that I work with, they all say the same thing. I'm not the same person now that I was when I started. And so I work at an identity level of who they are and how they operate versus, okay, these are the tactics and the strategies to get where you want. So when we shift who you are to get to your goal, sometimes that goal no longer looks like something you want because you are now a different person. Or you actually, it becomes easier for you to get that goal because you are the person that goal attracts and that goal is part of you, right?
Now, Jeff, I love the bio that you sent me because it really summed everything up. It was perfect. It's what I ask everybody to aspire to.
Yeah, no, Tony does his due diligence. When he finds a guest, I'm always, like everybody's ready to roll because Tony goes through the whole,
You know what? You have to have a plan. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that you have to have a plan. You have to have, your A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it needs to go in order. I like to shoot my ducks down in order. So I'm going to read your actual bio that you sent me because I thought it was brilliant. And I'm going to share with our audience. It just says, Jeffery Davis helps entrepreneurs and professionals go from frenzy to focused so they no longer have to cash in their health, relationships, and fulfillment to pay the bills or succeed. He's committed to helping people transmute the experience of burnout to brilliance and from hustle culture to high performance. As a former high-performing corporate executive turned entrepreneur, he's all too familiar with burnout and knows what is necessary to change interval operating systems to thrive. Tomorrow works. And I thought that was beautiful. It was brilliant. It was put together nicely.
Yeah, so
not
wait a
everybody does
second.
that.
Hold on now. Hold on. Jeffrey, did you use ChatGPT to put that together or no?
No, I didn't.
All right. You see, guys, it was a human this time. A human did it. We're putting one on the list there for mankind. And the rest goes towards the robots. We are very far behind in this.
Yeah. They're learning though. They're learning.
Yeah, I don't mind the AI technology. Jeff, do you ever get fearful of the future with how far technology has come from when we've experienced a lot of different parts of technology. I never thought anything would be better than the cassette player. Then here comes the CD. Then it's like, well, this is it. Steve Jobs comes along and says, guys, I got something that's just going to wipe out everybody. And the first question should have been is, don't you have aggressive cancer still, sir? Because holy shit, why are you worried about all my music crap? You should go to a doctor. And he's like, hold on now. I got a phone right here that will make sure that your kids never talk to you again. And every parent leaned in a little bit. They said, sir, go on. And they've been, and the world's been hooked ever since.
I have to bring up your lovely town.
Okay.
Man, I'm going to get this wrong. Damn it.
Woo. Let's see if he sticks the landing. All right. Come on.
You want me to say it? You want me to say it for you? I can say it.
Go for it.
Okay. So I live in San Miguel de Allende.
Okay. San Miguel de Allende.
Yes.
Mexico. Mexico.
Yeah.
And of course, beautiful, very cultured. Even from the lovely painting that's right behind you, very, very nice.
Yeah, just like the worst thing that only in America we get to see movies full of just like gunfights and cocaine when it comes to Mexico. It's like that's all there is, really.
Cocaine bear. You had mentioned earlier about even in your program introducing people to your lovely town. How does that work out as well?
Yeah, so the work that I do, and I think the true wisdom and where your essence is not in your head, it's in your heart. And what happens is as we start to spend more time in our head, we start to lose the trail back to what is essentially one of the longest trips people take, the 8 inches from your head to your heart. Right. And so that is where the wisdom is. And my life transformation began where I sat down, I was in corporate work and I was very frustrated with kind of what my life was starting to look like, even though on the outside it was wonderful, had all the stuff and things and fun and But I was like, this is kind of boring and I've got a long way to go. So maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I got everything upside down. Maybe this is the CEO and this is the personal assistant. So this tells me to go to Mexico and this books the ticket. Like, let's try that. And so instead of being clever and having everything figured out, all of a sudden I was present to the moment and my experience of life became very different. And then from there, I started leaning in more and more and I left corporate and I moved to LA to act, which is kind of crazy. If you're not 18 and
it's a 1 in a million chance.
Yeah, and it was one of the best things I ever did, not in terms of acting, but in terms of transforming my life. Because in order to become an actor, my journey was I had to uncover all the stuff that I'd hidden. and parts of me that I hadn't integrated that were beneficial on some level, but business wise, but they were destroying everything else. So when I started to do that, then I started to wake up to who I am and to my true power and to what my gifts are. And so I looked at the content that I was producing, and I was like, I think I really want to do something that makes a big difference in the world. And I have these gifts. That's what I want to do. So I started coaching people.
That's awesome. Kudos for you, man.
Really, Jeffrey, the burning question on my brain right now is, were you in anything good?
Was I anything?
Acting.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So the biggest film that I got cast in was Contagion. Funny enough.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was interesting, and then I left acting and I started coaching, and I changed everything. I changed how I communicated. I changed how I walked in the world. I started volunteering with Big Brother, Big Sister, and I became a mentor for this 7-year-old whose father had died the year before. And, we're kind of, in this family, I consider these people part of my family, and they myself too. And that was transformational for me.
That's great that you found new purpose, which is amazing, because that's what you're trying to show everybody, that you can have purpose too.
Right. You have to wake up to it. Sometimes this is interesting. So sometimes it involves a change externally. It always involves a change internally. Sometimes it's just the change internally. Everything may look the same externally, but your experience and the energy that you're putting into it and giving out in that, same thing that you're doing is completely different, and you generate different results.
I'm seeing you from the movie Contagion right now, and you don't age, Jeffrey. This is the weird thing. I'm not even this,
Biohacking.
Okay, all right, because that sounds like some robot talk right there. And if you
Jeffery
really are a
Davis
robot, you can tell us.
He's a cyborg of his former
There
self.
is no AI here. No.
Yeah. It's weird, man. I'm 30. I'm 37 years old right now, and you can tell I'm getting older because I hesitated on my own age there for a second. I'm like, I'm 30. Where am So, you try your best to get in some good health. I do yoga every morning, 1 hour's worth of yoga, just to focus myself 100%. And then to unfocus myself from that, I talk to Tony for 5 minutes on the phone, and I'm completely fucked up from that point on. It's just, it's
total downfall after that.
It's the weirdest thing. I've never heard somebody loudly eat chili dogs and potato chips at 7:30 in the morning. And I'm just like, Tony, you can put it down. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. So what's up? I'm like, never mind. We shouldn't be talking this early in the morning. But yeah, I do you do the yoga. Have you ever done yoga before, Jeff? Is that a routine of yours at all, or no?
Yeah, Jeffrey, I do. I have done yoga, and I did it for quite a while before the pandemic and everything shut down, and then
before your cool self arrived.
Yeah, so and then I started traveling and things like that, and I haven't really picked it up much. I do a little bit now, but I do miss it. There's not really a lot of yoga studios in San Miguel de Allende. There's some, but I haven't really found the place where I can check in on a regular basis. When I was in LA, I would go to this place in Hermosa Beach, because I lived in Hermosa Beach that was right against the beach. And I would be there as the sun's rising, and we're doing, the sun salutation.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing. So
now, you said you lived on the beach. Were you a surfer, or because everybody who lives on the beach, they're like, no, I did like wind riding, surf.
I mean, you could just be plain old homeless if you want to live on the beach. It's all right.
So, I mean, I gravitate towards the water. I wouldn't say, I'm not a surfer. I've windsurfed before. And that was kind of fun. I'm kind of like, if I go to a really warm place, then I'll jump in and try to surf, but that's not really my thing. But I just love the negative ions. I love the ocean. I love the sunset. I love the beach and how it makes
smell, the taste. Oh,
yeah.
Taste.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You get that salty taste right from the ocean. You could taste it in the air.
It's amazing. I mean, your body, you feel different in nature, right? There's a reason why the inside of us is called human nature, right? And we step into nature and we co-regulate with the nature around us, and our nervous system drops. You can feel the energy drop inside your body, the anxiety if you go for a walk in nature, and even, do something like tree hugging. In Japan, there's this thing called forest bathing. When you walk through the forest, and it's basically like washing the stress off of your body.
Back it up there. Hold on now. Tree hugging. What is that? That is exactly what it sounds like it is. Am I right on that or no?
It's exactly how it sounds.
You just go up to a tree, just give it a hug.
Well, I mean, you don't go up and say, "Hey, baby," and then you walk away. You would put your arms around it and feel the energy, and you're basically grounding yourself, right? So, the trees, it's nature itself stuck into the ground. And, the trees have so much history to them. I got to a spot where this is interesting, where I put my arms around this tree during this period where I was healing from an event that happened. And I put my arms around this one tree. I was like, this is weird. I don't really feel a lot of energy. And I backed up. And this squirrel came out of the middle of the tree. And then I looked and I was like, then the tree was basically hollow. So I could feel the difference in that tree and in the other tree.
Yeah, you see, that is definitely a thing that is culturally appropriate in Japan. You can't do that in America in certain spots. You'd have people trying to fuck the trees. It's true.
Possibly.
Yeah, but
even in Japan, they have Owaka. What's it called? Okigahara.
Okigahara. Wait a second. Sparky's got us an incoming little graphic here. It says, "Hey there, that is a nice hole in your trunk." And is that all you got there, Sparky? Zoom it out.
What else you got, Sparky?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
He's got the. Open for interpretation from that point there.
Way open for interpretation. That's man versus nature in its fullest.
Right.
But Owakigahara is a forest in Japan where I guess they've had like mass suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They technically call it the forest of the dead.
Wow, interesting.
And in 2003, I think they found like 105 bodies in that particular forest, because they said that they were called there to suicide themselves.
That's what you call some nightmare hugging trees right there. You hug the tree and you're like,
I wonder what's going on there.
Like that old TV show that the Dead Zone, Stephen King little novel here. Remember the Dead Zone?
I read that book. Yeah.
Yeah. It was Stephen King's got some where you're like, this is a good book. And then you watch the movie and you're like, eh. And then he's got others where you're like, well, thank God this isn't it. Thank God they cut all the book out, specifically in regards to the movie It.
Obviously The Shining was a book. And a movie that happened, right?
Of course.
Kubrick did a much better job on that movie than the book was ever done, in my opinion. I'm a big Stanley Kubrick fan, so.
Well, it was Kubrick and Nicholson, right?
Yeah. Nicholson was acting in it, and his portrayal was great. And Jack Nicholson, I guess he came out of hiding after 2 years, right? And people were just amazed that he looked like he was in his 80s. And I was like. I swear to God. They're like, he's a little overweight. It's like,
yeah, they just put that out like 4 days ago, didn't they?
Yeah, he's 80. I think he's 85 years old. And everybody's like, well, he looks like shit. It's like, dude, he's 85. He stays in his house. He gets high all the time, He's
not a biohacker, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, this is true. Jeffrey, you're not 85.
Out on that phase of his life.
Yeah. So he's doing his own thing. I mean, there's these jokes going around written by myself saying that groundhog rules apply for Jack Nicholson, that if he sees a shadow, it's yeah.
They've actually had a story out not too long ago about Gene Hackman as well.
Oh yeah, well, Gene, you see, this is the thing. People they see them in movies, and then they just lock them in there for all eternity at that one
Like
age.
a safe.
Yeah, and and it's a thing. It's definitely it's a thing that happens to people. They get older. So God bless you, Jack Nicholson. You're doing an amazing job growing older and not dying. Because Clint Eastwood, dude, look at him. He's almost 100 years old.
Right. He's talking to chairs.
Yeah. He's talking to chairs. Yeah. Do you remember that at the GOP? I'm just like thinking of, when I first saw that, Jeffrey, when I first saw him talking to a chair, I said to myself, wow.
How many times hold on. How many times have you seen him talking to a chair? More than one?
Just that one time.
Okay,
Just that one time on stage.
On many occasions.
But the GOP at the time didn't say, and probably for good reason too. They're like, hey, Clint Eastwood says that he's got something special for us tonight. It's like, well, do you want to do a dress rehearsal? Nah, fuck it. It's Clint Eastwood. He's going to be amazing at anything.
Yeah, how can he mess this up?
Yeah, it's Clint Eastwood. He's an actor. He's a performer. He said he's doing it just for us. And then you see him up there. He's talking to a fucking chair looking like a senile schizophrenic person. He's like, hey there, chair. It's like, fuck. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You can only talk to a chair if you're in your mid 30s, 40s, maybe 50s. If you're in your goddamn 90s and you're talking to a chair, the next thing normally what they used to do, they used to take this long jacket, wrap you around the fucking it and throw you in the bin until your breath didn't come out of your mouth anymore. But no, he's still making movies. He's got this last one coming out. Couldn't even tell you the name of it because I can't buy him as a 70-year-old anymore because I know he's 100. It's not like what's his face? Oh God, chitty bang bang fucker. What's his name?
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke did the right thing. He's in his 90s. He doesn't act in movies anymore. Because he's like, who wants to watch a 90? He didn't even act in movies when he was in his 80s. He was just like, dude, I'm in my 80s. I'm not doing it anymore.
Dude, he's been singing Chitty Bang Bang for 40 years.
Dick Van Dyke has that production company, which is enormous, right?
Yes, he does. Yeah, so, but he doesn't push himself to star in them, and that's a great. Yeah. That's what I can appreciate when stars are ready to just move on and give the next generation a little bit of a push. I'm talking to you there, Rolling Stones. God damn it, stop it already. You're 100. They just won't step aside though. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
Actually, doesn't Jeffrey remind you of
Ryan Stiles?
Yes.
Who? Yeah, Jeffrey Davis does look like a much better looking version of Ryan Stiles.
How funny. I'll tell you who, there's two people that I'll hear you look like. One is Sean Penn. And then the other one, and they always say this other one this exact way. They're like, don't take this. They say it, this is a quote. They're like, don't take this the wrong way, but you look like a younger, better looking Bill Murray.
I can't see the Bill Murray. I can see the Sean Penn though.
Yeah.
The Sean, you look like Sean Penn if he had like a nose job, right? And
even a tall Bono.
Tall Bono works too, but Bono, South Park has proved that Bono is nothing more than a piece of shit.
Nah, true.
Yeah, true.
How's your singing ability, Jeffrey?
I don't sing very much. I'm working on my voice. This is interesting. After I decided to leave acting, one of the things that I made a mental note of was that acting projects would come to me that were the right ones. And so fast forward 2 years later, and I run into a friend of mine. He's like, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? You still acting? I'm like, yeah, I left it, but I'm not really doing many projects. He's like, well, I actually have a musical, that I want I was considering you for a part. I'm like, well, I don't sing. He's like, well, there's actually the part that you're considered for is the one non-singing part.
Oh, perfect.
Interesting. I'm like, what? Tell me about it. And so it was about the awakening of consciousness in Los Angeles and what that event was like. So it was a fascinating piece.
And you took that to heart.
Yeah. So it was fascinating. Yeah.
Now you normally do these, you normally you take on people one day per week, or do you normally have like you have a group of people, right? You have a group of like a group course you're doing right now, right?
I'm launching a group course called Evolve. And so that'll be launching in May. And currently I'm working with one-on-one clients. So not a lot of them. And it's deep work, and that goes for 6 months. The group course is a different piece of that, the Evolve course, and that's 3 months.
Nice. And you know that it's good because if you're only taking on one person, I mean, that's a lot of attention towards just one person. So you want to, you're going to make sure that the program works perfect, or actually your abilities work perfect for them, to be more specific on that idea. But if they were going to get in touch with you for the group course, do you have a website that we can just throw out there? I mean, I got some information just scattered around here. I got fucking fortune cookies around here. This desk here is all like scattered up with a bunch of crap. It's terrible. But do you have a website, or would it be Facebook? Would be the better idea? Instagram, Twitter, all those things.
Sure. Well, I'm on all the stuff, right?
All the things.
Yeah, I got all the things. I got a YouTube channel where I'm offering 2 to 3 minute bits of wisdom and things about me. I've got Instagram where I do some of that, and then I've got other pieces on that. So these are both Jeffery Davis. And then I've got LinkedIn where I'm doing some of that. And then I'm on Facebook where there's my business profile and my personal profile, Jeffery. Actually, on Facebook, it's my personal profile is Jeffery Dean, which is my middle name. And then my business profile is Jeffery Davis. And if somebody wants to go into the group program, then they should step into Life on Purpose group on Facebook, where they can get a sense and interact with me, and we can talk about what the program's all about, and they could get a sense of what that looks like.
Yeah, and you know what? It's probably highly recommended by everybody. The only thing that you're probably running out of for people is your personal time and attendance, because these things have got to fill up pretty quick.
Yeah, the group program I'm really excited about, and part of the work that I do, when you're doing work inside, you can't really have a body that's not functioning, because your body provides information. If you're slow, your energy's low because you're not properly taking care of your body, it affects your cognition and your health and everything else. Also internally, how you think and how you process emotions can affect your body too. I have a friend who went through it, and happens quite frequently, about 20% of the time. When people go through a difficult divorce, they can come out 20% of the time with a chronic health issue as a result. I have a friend who had a difficult
due to all that stress, right?
Yeah. And so I know at least one personal friend who had cancer as a result of the difficult process that they went through. So, health is both inside and outside. So we do some biohacking tips and things like that so that people are able to really drop into the work that we're doing. Some of that is just simple things about how you eat, what you look at, and what you take in environmentally. So it's interesting when you look at news at Facebook and you look at the scroll, they call it a news feed, right? So you're ingesting that information into your conscious and your subconscious, and it has an impact on you. And the impact can be, as some people know, as you're scrolling through, people get irritated, they get upset, they get triggered, they get happy. I mean, they react to it in a conscious way, and then subconsciously it starts to influence them because it's, messaging. So there's also something that's interesting that I've noticed, and I haven't really talked about it, is, I don't know if you guys remember, so there was a period of time where there were limits on what you could show in terms of violence on TV, right?
There were, yes, yeah.
Now, I mean, there's videos on TV of people getting killed, of actual people getting killed, right? And on Facebook and in videos and stuff like that. So, as a society, it's kind of gotten into a no holds barred delivery of information. And
there's been two extremes of either too much of a desensitization of people's emotions, and then there's the overreaction of sensitivities throughout stuff that really is not worryable. Like if like a marketing brand such as Aunt Jemima, they're like, oh man, we got to get her the hell off of the syrup bottle. And while they're like, but hey, this up next, a school shooting. It's like, dude, I don't think the syrup bottle has much to do with the other violence that's already out there. But Jeffrey, real quick, the program sounds outstanding on so many levels, because no matter what, people would want to get their mind and body in tuned in the right way, and you're the man to help them out with that. But brass tacks, is it affordable for your normal everyday Joe, or is this more of like a top tier kind of thing?
So the group program is absolutely affordable. And to be honest with you, I don't think that people can afford not to do it. It's life-changing.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's life-changing. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And it will impact your health. It'll impact the way that you experience life. It'll impact your relationships. And it offers significant change in a positive manner.
Now, at the group, during the group course, will you be providing people with the life-changing, life-saving Podguyz podcast gear that can be found on merchbooth.com?
Because
you're throwing out the words life-changing, life-saving. We know a little bit about that here at the Podguyz Podcast.
That's true.
Well, we're streaming this on my page, and the people that are coming into my group will see this. And I think you guys are doing some great stuff and having fun along the way. So,
Jeffrey, whenever it comes down to stuff like whenever I quit smoking cigarettes, right? I quit smoking cigarettes 2 years ago, and people kept saying, "Isn't Chantix expensive?"
Chantix?
And yeah, the Chantix.
It's a new drug, revolutionary, that's helping people quit smoking. It does have several side effects.
Nightmares was one of them, but I figure what's 8 more hours, right? So
hallucinations, nightmares.
But the price alone compared to the finish line of I don't smoke cigarettes. I haven't smoked cigarettes for 2 years now. I haven't drank alcohol in 4 years. Well, it's still an addiction, so it's always going to linger around. It's kind of like, it's always a pre-lingering idea. But it cuts. If the Chantix worked perfectly, I don't ever plan on going back to the idea. But the money spent up front, you'll always see later on in life. So the money that they're going to spend on your program, they're going to see probably 10 or 20-fold down the road.
Oh, the program itself, it has things that you can implement immediately that will have an immediate change in your experience of life. And it will change the trajectory of where you're going, assuming you do the work. Right? I can't make anybody do the work, nor do I want to make anybody do the work. If people are ready to have significant changes in their life in terms of lowering their stress, in terms of improving their mental and physical health, and in terms of their relationships, that's important, because when you fix those pieces and you have those pieces humming, you start to really connect with what you're here to do, and you start to really connect with, the abundance that can provide.
Now,
Tony has a question.
Does that include repairing injured connections or severing broken connections?
Well, it can be both. I have done a lot of work, and it's made a significant difference in my life with my family. The core of the work that you do for relational repair and connection, I believe, goes across the bridge of open curiosity and compassion. When you have those two, you have a bridge between you and somebody else. So when I mean curiosity, I sat down with my parents and over multiple times, and I approached them as if, who are these people? I mean, we think we know our parents. We spent all this time with our parents, but if we just met them, how would we talk to them? What's their past like? How do they think? What was involved in raising me? What was that experience like? How many people ask that? And so when you start to do that, and ask those questions, two things happen. One is you start to see them with a different light and their actions from a different level, and you start to understand who they are and why they made those choices. And two, they start to feel seen and heard, and that creates a connection. And when you're listening to them with compassion, not judgment, the door to a different type of relationship. And those two things you can use with anybody, and it changes everything.
So I'm going to get one last question out the door.
All right.
This is the big one. You were going to give anybody motivation, anybody your discreet wisdom. What would be your choice of words for them to do?
My choice of words would be
where I think I'm really going with this is, if you've seen your 16-year-old self, would you kick him in the nuts or would you give him words of advice? And what would be the words of advice?
Yeah.
And how hard would the kick in the nuts be? Because there's got to be a kick somewhere.
Yeah. So I wouldn't kick anybody. I would speak to my younger self in a way that I felt like I was heard. I didn't feel, I mean, that was a wound, but I didn't feel like I was really heard or seen, just in general. And so that caused me to behave in particular ways. That caused me to feel disconnected. Because I felt disconnected, I actually created a level of disconnection and a level of a kind of a barrier between myself and the level of intimacy that I could have with other people. Had a lot of fun. I had some good friends. But my relationship to myself, which is the key, was completely different. And that's where I believe everybody needs to start, is understanding who you are and answering one of the most important questions in the world is, who am I and what am I here to do on this planet? And most people answer the question, who am I? Oh, I'm an accountant, or I'm a dad. Those are things that you do and responsibilities, but who are you?
I love the response of good time. See, you had good times.
Yeah.
There were times in your life that were good, you know, and the fact that they're fleeting moments and just times, and not necessarily like your life experience, things that you did, things that got you to where you are, you know. I think that speaks a lot as far as, you know, a lot of what goes into your program, which is fantastic, by the way.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm super excited about the Evolve program. It's the first time I'm running it, and people are going to get a lot out of it. So that's why I'm doing this 5-day challenge, so they can get a sense of it. And then,
which, by the way, starts today.
Starts today.
I actually just signed up today.
Awesome.
So if you do look at it, you'll be like, oh, Tony Katz, who the hell is that? And I'll be like, me. It's me.
Of course. Yeah. I'll let you in. Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, I love what you guys are doing. I appreciate it. I'm excited. You know, you're bringing some freshness to helping shine a light on what's possible in the world, right?
We try to go all over the spectrum of, you know, and this is all, you know, Tony vets the guests, and sometimes 9 out of 10 times we're in good shape. Then there's always that 1 out of 10 time where you're just like, Tony, where'd you find this fucker from? You know? And,
I hope I'm in the 9 out of 10, not the 1 out of 10. But
no, Jeffrey, you are very well
on?
spoken, and you know, I feel like I could speak for the whole room here, that we all know that your head and your heart are in the right place of how you're trying to help humanity as a whole move forward into a happier place in their life, and that is something we should all be thriving for. But we all can't just thrive for it. Sometimes you need somebody like yourself to give the push.
Or even Sparky for the Podguyz Podcast self-help book.
Yeah. Sparky, do you have any self-help book advice or titles that you're working on there? Because normally Sparky is drawing all these wonderful pictures here.
He's a one picture wonder today.
This is the problem, Jeffrey. You're damn so inspirational right now. Fucking Sparky's even drawn a couple tears out of his eyes. You know, he's like, I don't want to draw anymore.
Now, while he gets something together, we're going to talk about what you're drinking right now. What is that?
So this is a beet and ginger juice.
Damn, that looks healthy. Yeah.
Super good. I don't drink alcohol. I stopped that when I cleaned up how I eat. So because I noticed that when my body was much cleaner from what I was eating, I could really feel just one glass of wine. I was like, I don't see the trade-off here. So let me just take 30 days off. And when I took 30 days off in the middle of it, my body was like, yeah, I think I'm done. So I just never looked back. I think it was kind of a non-event. I think it was maybe 15 years ago, something like that.
Now, do you get that? Not necessarily that it's in a specialty area, but in San de la Miguel.
Oh, San Miguel de Allende, yeah.
San Miguel de Allende.
Yes, of course, of course.
Do they have a lot of health food shops? A lot of like Whole Foods or like a some sort of supermarket where you can buy healthy alternatives for biohacking as well?
Yeah, so it is. It's a historic city, UNESCO historic city. So there's cobblestone streets and no big box stores. There's 2 big box stores a little bit out of town, and so they have a lot of things. But in town, the food quality is great. There's a lot of organic restaurants, and there's an organic shop where I shop right up the street that's very small. There's farmland around. There's a couple vineyards. There's hot springs. So, it's really rooted, so to speak, in the earth. And, it's also rooted in the culture. It's something that I'm really learning, that when you go to the resorts, you're pretty much disconnected from what is the essence of Mexico. And here I'm learning just so much about it. And I've learned so much from the people here. There's a different value system. It's about time. It's about family. And it's even about the wisdom of elders, and
I was going to say Mexican culture, very, very,
it's rich,
holding family close, and your friends are your family, and your family is your friends. Yeah. So having even an outside stranger come to your house to eat with your family, like they count you as family as well.
Right.
So it's more or less like a group, not to say a group gathering, but I guess they do like a lot of cookouts, a lot of gathering parties in Mexico, more than they would in the United States, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's very inclusive, and there's a reason why specifically this town was voted the friendliest city in the entire world. But what's interesting, there's a guy here who I was speaking to one time, and he does insurance for mostly Americans who come down. And he said that there's a difference between when somebody comes down and a couple of years later. So they'll come down and they'll be American. And then after a couple of years of living here, eating better food, which is just natural food here, and the exercise of walking around, and the fact that, it's not like the US where at a certain age, you're kind of shipped off to a glue factory, nursing home, or pushed away.
Well, hold on. Where else would we get glue from, if not from the elders?
Elmer.
I know what you're thinking. I make a great point, right?
And Sparky might put that in his picture of the self-help book.
So no, I 1,000% agree with you on that one, man. My fiance is from the.
We're going back to paper,
and he's going back to the paper. He's going back to what made him great there, Tony. But my fiance.
You know what? And because Jeffrey had talked to about going back to your roots, going back to where it began. Le Picasso is going back to where he began.
There we go.
Yeah, he started off with paper. Then he got this big board because he wanted to get all sorts of fancy and all that nice stuff. So now we have a lot of letters to read right there. That's great.
So it says the Podguyz Guide to Self.
Oof! Wow, way to write in light purple there, Sparky.
No,
with the light in the background, everything's a little tough.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, you couldn't have put it in black, Sparky.
Sparky, how about you read it if they're words, okay? If they're words, Sparky, just read it yourself. Sparky, read it. Sparky, read it. Read it. Read it out loud.
Sparky's like the teller of this, like Penn and Teller. He's the teller.
Well, it says the
teller's broken.
Podguyz Guide to Self-Help in 3 steps.
Okay.
Number 1, watch us Monday nights at 10:15 Eastern.
That's a great idea, Sparky. What's the second one?
Great start.
Number 2, go to merchbooth.com and buy
For
our
what?
swag.
Why would I go to merchbooth.com?
Buy our swag.
Oh, you got to buy this. Yeah.
I got better swag. And number 3, be sure to send us your hate mail at
Podcast@gmail.com. Send us your hate mail. We get a lot of hate mail there, Jeffrey. A lot of hate mail coming our way because sometimes we say stuff that is very off-colored. We defend the wrong people. I guess we've defended the Island Boys before because we're like, these kids are having some fun. Everybody stop picking on them. And
We don't like to ruin everybody's rainy day parade.
Yeah, we were the first people to call Jake Paul a scumbag, for knocking out Nate Robinson during a charity event when everybody was normally on the side of, wow, look at how Nate Robinson got knocked on the ground sort of thing. And there's even this one story, how they say that people love to that some people just love to help no matter what the age. And I think Tony knows what story I'm referring to here is with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you hear about this story there, Jeff?
No, what story?
So in the lovely state of California, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor. The
Right.
governor.
The governor.
The governor.
He was there.
Mhm.
And, he'd at least cheated his wife with the maid, but it's all right. Yeah, he was exercising. It says right here that Arnold Schwarzenegger was exercising his civic duty when he took it upon himself to fill a giant pothole. We've all hit potholes before. And if you've ever hit one every day, you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to fill it myself.
So
Now,
did he climb in it? Is that how he filled it?
No, he actually got his own blacktop and concrete mixed together and had a couple people with him to fill in the pothole.
He made some asphalt.
Man, he did. Speaking of mate, he made an asphalt out of himself. Right. Yeah. He said he went out with his team and fixed it, and then the video is set to some funky music. Unfortunately, that wasn't a pothole at all. That was a strategic trench put there by Southern California Gas Company.
Gas company.
God up. No.
Swear
Seriously?
to God. Yeah.
Wow.
And they reported to NBC News that location was not a pothole. The department told NBC News it's a service trench that relates to active permitted work being performed at the location by SoCal Gas
For 5 weeks.
who expects the work to be completed at the end of May. Well, fuck you, SoCal Gas. You're taking 5 weeks to get people down. How long does it take to do that kind of work? Get people down there, work there 24 hours a goddamn day. Fill 3 shifts up. Or if you want to. I'm on the side of the Terminator. If you can't get this shit done with, I'm going to fill in the hole.
Well, you know what? It took 5 weeks because somebody keeps filling the hole in every week.
You know what? Yeah, you make
Exactly.
a valid point there, Jeffrey. They're like, damn it, another person filling the hole up. They gotta undo it. It's well, you know what? If let's take Terminator time travel in there, he should have just gone back in time.
Yeah. Right. When it was full.
shot the CEO and terminated the CEO of Southern California Gas. Yeah.
You've been dominated. Baby.
Yeah, see, there's an unprecedented amount of streets that have been tarnished, but Arnold Schwarzenegger found the one part in his neighborhood specifically that bothered him, and it wasn't a pothole at all. That's too bad. That's too bad. He did try to do something nice for the community. I guess sometimes you just have to wait until Domino's gets to the goddamn potholes because they were
the greatest comment that came out of that whole story was that he's now called the Terminator.
a Terminator. You see what they did there?
A little play on words.
Let's see what happened. Yeah.
And then we got of course a Mario movie came out. Tony, you a big fan of Mario, Jeffrey?
I played the game, but
Yeah.
I didn't know the movies. Yeah, I don't really watch movies, to be honest with you. I don't.
So if you played the game, you already know what the movie's about, basically. It's about Mario and his brother Luigi. And basically, there you go. Like, you don't really need to go out and see the movie because it's already been a video game for the past 36 years. This Mario concept has been thrown out there for as long as the day
Multiple
has been.
times as well.
Since the dawn of video game age, and they said to themselves, hey, who could we find to talk to about this, and they found former actor John Leguizamo. Now, I've always called him former actor because I've never really bought his acting to be anything great. I think that he's brilliant when it comes to Broadway live kind of stuff. But when you see him on screen, you're just like, dude, we know
he does some
you're
great voiceover stuff right now.
Voiceover stuff is always very interesting. He's got some range when his face isn't in the goddamn thing. But John Leguizamo is doubling down, criticizing Universal Studios that's saying the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is starring Chris Pratt and Charlie Day.
By the way, a movie about Italian plumbers.
Yep. Yeah, Italian plumbers that they don't. Let me see here. They messed up with inclusion. He says that they needed to include more people from Italian, Latino descent, of course, was a big part of his complaint. No, I will not be watching, he says. They could have included a Latin character, which, yeah, you know what? They could have. They could have totally included a Latin character. It is the land of make-believe, after all. Like, I was groundbreaking, and then they stopped the groundbreaking. Actually, no, John Leguizamo. This is why you weren't hitting the character right. You were playing Luigi in the movie, who is an Italian plumber. And you, according to this, you thought that you were playing a Latin character that was Mario's Latin
brother.
Latin brother that from another mother. I was groundbreaking, and then they stopped the groundbreaking. First of all, they didn't break any ground. The Nintendo people broke some ground. Okay, they took that ground, fucked around with it for a little bit, threw it out there,
and then Arnold filled it in.
And Arnold filled it right in. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" Yeah, like. It's basically a stolen script from a video game anyways, that he was mad that wasn't more inclusive towards Latin American folks, which is fine or whatever. But whoever wanted to print the story, and it's Variety magazine that wanted to print whatever John Leguizamo is thinking these days about the Mario movie. I mean, I guarantee that the picture by picture looks like they're kind of in a nice setting. But dude, if you're talking to John Leguizamo about the Mario movie, the crack pipe must be full at the beginning of that conversation and then halfway finished towards the end of the idea.
It's fascinating. So coming from corporate, where and the business world, where there are certain ways that you deal with hiring and personnel and certain things you can say and certain things you can, and then going into acting where it's all about stereotypes. It's all about how you look. It's all about what your background is and how you speak and everything else. It's the complete opposite, right? So, yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's a crazy world we live in.
That's just the thing too. Actors we've had on here before, and I always try to bring it up, and it always comes to a head, is where typecasting comes in. And we've had some pretty good actors come on here before, and I've been in some movies myself. I do stand-up comedy, and that booked up for this summer, which is great, but you do have the typecasting that comes in. It's just the visual, and it involves a little bit of brainwashing from how we already perceive people and how people are put out there for the kids up until they're adults. And there's a lot of territorial fighting going on, like the movie The Little Mermaid, for example. By the way, we're in Fantasyland right now. A mermaid could be any color that anybody would like to be, right? Mm-hmm. So you do have people that are white that are thinking, wait, they're taking this away and they're giving it to who now? And it gets kind of weird to a degree. So there's nothing at all wrong with giving anybody of color somebody positive to look up to.
No, you know, so there's information that shows that when the Cosby Show was on, and Bill Cosby in the Cosby Show was a family guy, he was a doctor, that there was an increase in African Americans applying and going to medical school during that time period.
Yes, right? There were.
So media affects and reflects. what's going on in society and culture. And, we people who are involved in creating some sense of media here, even here, it's important to think about, like, what are we creating? Where are we coming from? Are we coming from our heart? Are we coming from a place where we want to create something positive, or are we just, doing things?
Yeah, just think how many people started building fences the wrong way when Donald Trump was president. They're not engineers. They're not architects. They're like, this will be easy. And they're like, I don't know, pal, you might want to get your friend to help you out there, Mr. Miguel.
Anyways, let's wrap this up, Kevin.
Let's wrap it. All right.
We're not making this a political ploy. We're not.
No politics. No politics.
Jeffery Davis, if people were going to get in touch with you, how would they do it, sir? I'm going to leave you the red carpet, of course, in order to give a little bit of info on how to contact you.
Well, I'll make it super easy. I can give my email address, and people can just write me and contact me directly. And that's JEFFERY at inspiring-breakthroughs.com. Or they can go to Facebook and go to the Life on Purpose 5-day challenge group, and I'll let them in. They can have an experience that will be,
by the way, really easy to get into. You do ask a basic question, and that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. It's an easy question. Well, could be difficult for some people, but an easy question.
Easy questions, yeah. Easy, not simple. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, easy and simple.
True. Yeah. And takes 5 seconds of your time. Sign up for the group. See what you can do, what Jeffery can do for you. It's a great course. Great. You're a great guest. Thank you, Jeffery.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate what you're doing. I thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Guys, if you were looking for us, Marky, where can you find us?
You can find us on every single major streaming platform, including YouTube, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast, GeoRio.
GeoRio.
GeoSavan.
Yeah. Huh?
GeoSavan.
Close enough, GeoRio. But anyways,
we might as well make GeoRio right now, man, because it's not even a thing. And promoting it.
I've never heard of it. What is GeoRio?
We've been promoting this platform that actually doesn't exist, but Sparky read it wrong the one time, and we just went with it for a year and another year. And then another year.
GeoSavan is a streaming site in India.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. We get about 546 downloads every week from India, which just tells you how little is going on in India.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so 546 out of 30 trillion people packed.
I mean, that's like 3
area.
houses.
Basically, yeah.
Neighborhood.
Yeah. It's probably
whole neighborhood.
They're probably using us as a device of torture in some areas, for all we know, man.
We are on a train right now, and we don't even know.
Somebody's listening with iPods doing something, I don't know.
Yeah, they're probably saying, they're talking about us again. Oh, fucking nuts.
Guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you go to merchbooth.com for all your favorite Podguyz Podcast merchandise. Of course, life-changing, life-saving. I'm Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso. Les Marquet. Guys, check out Jeffery Davis. Go to his web page. Go to the website. Go to Facebook. Check him out. Email him. Talk to him. He will change your life. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.